start your share your presentation.
Yes, it's visible now.
Yes, sir. Mm,
Okay.
okay, ma'am, continue.
So, a very good morning to all of you, and welcome to this Monday lecture. We are again here with a fresh research as well as field, as well as teaching oriented related subject. And today we have with us Dr. Ashish Santosh Murai. He had done his BSc honors from PDKB, Akola University, and masters from NDRI Karnal, and PhD from IARI New Delhi in agriculture extension. He was recipient of ICR SRF and UGC JRF during his doctoral program. He has having a 8 year of experience in research and extension at ICR Atari Ludhiana itself, and he has published more than 20 research articles in national and international journals, co-authored 5 books, and contributed several chapters and bulletins, and published many manuals and bulletins also, and received many awards in conferences and individual award, as well as the ICR Team Award Nanaji Deshmukh for outstanding interdisciplinary team research in agriculture and allied sciences. And currently he is handling many projects, and the major project is of NICRA, CFLD in pulses, and CRM, crop residue management. So we welcome from our organizing team. He is also a convener of this training program. So we welcome Dr. Ashish Santosh Murai for his experience in climate resilient agriculture field experiences. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. Very good morning to all of you. I'll straight way rush to the topic, that is climate resilient agriculture field experiences. As the topic suggests, I'll be talking about climate resilient agricultural technologies and some interventions, but they will be specifically focusing on field experiences. Whatever we have observed, may it be something successful or a failure. What you can learn from this is how different technologies behave differently at different locations, and maybe why certain technologies succeed or why certain technologies fail at field level. So first I'll start with a general introduction. As I have mentioned about climate resilient agriculture, the foremost phenomena is climate change. So, according to IPCC reports, during 1880 to 2012, there has been an increase of 0.85 degrees Celsius global temperature. Moreover, if you see the projections, the global warming is likely to reach 1.5 degrees Celsius between 2030 to 2052. And there were projections like by 2050, India will cross China in terms of population. But that projection went wrong, and now we are supposed to cross China in terms of population anytime. Or many people are of opinion that we might have already crossed them. It's just a matter of census. Similar way, these are just projections that 1.5 degrees up to 2052. But who knows? Even before that, or if we wake up and act upon these, we may prevent this from happening to for some more time. There have been proper documented evidences of climate change, like the number of cold days and nights have decreased, number of warm days and nights have increased globally. Glaciers are melting, global sea level is rising. These are very common evidences almost everyone knows about. Now, one of the recent assessment of IPCC in 2022, again, the CO2 concentration is ever increasing. Sea level is on the rise. Arctic sea ice is melting. The area is at lowest level right now, and the glaciers are retreating. Now, what was interesting about this assessment was they have come up with different scenarios. You can see here SSP1, SSP2 to SSP5. These and the projections, they talk about near term projections, some mid term projections like up to 2060, and long term projections. So based on these scenarios and these different near, mid, and long term projections, we can actually have a proper estimate like where we are going to be in terms of global temperature in coming years. If we take the sustainability road, then maybe up to 2040 there will be only 1.2 degrees Celsius rise, and the worst case scenario, that is what they have been calling as fossil fuel development, in short term itself the rise may be up to 1.9 degrees Celsius. So whatever the projections were earlier, even we might miss them, and we may reach that kind of rise in temperature even before that. These are some of the evidences of climate change in India. Just like global evidences, we have decrease in annual rainfall in several states, increase in winter mean temperature. So based on your location, you can imagine what is happening over the years. And based on this data, we can understand the effect of climate change, how it varies from region to region, and how it can affect agriculture in different ways. Now, particularly when we look at the impact of climate change on agriculture, there have been projections like wheat yield may decrease by 9%, rice yield may decrease by 12%, maize by 18%, mustard by 12%. And considering all this, considering the rising population, changing spending pattern of people, IFRI has come up with a projection that the increased price of wheat, rice, and maize by about 200%. The prices may rise up to 200% what they are today by 2050. So we can imagine how devastating the climate change can be for the crops and ultimately for our food security. If you look at the recent past, there have been so many extreme events happening. Either there are floods or hailstorms or cyclones. So the frequency of events have increased considerably over the years. There are different kinds of these weather aberrations, or we call them as climatic variability, that is affecting agriculture negatively, maybe drought or cyclones. And not means when I say agriculture, I mean including livestock, poultry, fisheries, means agriculture and allied sector combinedly, or you can say the primary sector. Now, if we look at specifically at India, the projections say that irrigated rice yield to be reduced by 4% in 2020. This was the projected impact, that from 2010 as a base year to 2039, the rice yield will reduce by 44%, and in rainfed, it will reduce by 6%. Same way, the estimates say that 1% rise in temperature will reduce wheat yield from 6 to 23% by 2050. So these all are going to affect negatively. There are very few estimates where the crops are going to benefit, and even if they benefit, the that particular benefit is being compromised somewhere else, or being compensated in case of loss somewhere else. So, what we are trying to do here in the North Zone is we are trying to promote climate smart agriculture. What climate smart is now? It deals with three aspects. One is adaptation, means how we can increase the resilience of our present agriculture and allied system. How we can cope up with the challenges climate change is going to pose. How farmers can better adapt to what change is being expected or is even unexpected. The second focus under climate smart agriculture is reducing GHG emissions, that is called mitigation. But uh, our interventions don't focus that much on the mitigation aspects because it requires a large scale, and we are working at village levels or at cluster of villages. Then third is, while ensuring adaptation and mitigation, we have to ensure food security of our farm families. We have to ensure nutritional security of our farm families. That can be ensured through enhanced productivity and increased farm income. So this is how the climate smart agriculture focuses upon adaptation, mitigation, and food security. So when we started planning this interventions, we had to prepare a matrix like what are the technologies that can help in food and nutritional security, what are can minimize climate risk, and what technologies that may help in adaptation, mitigation, and they have income enhancement potential. So we enlisted all the technologies that are possible in our zone in different states. For example, let's say direct seeded rice. It has some importance, or it has reasonable potential for food and nutritional security. It rather focuses majorly on water saving, that is adaptation. How we can reduce the water use, that aspect we deal with direct seeded rice more. And mitigation aspect also, because it prevents greenhouse gas emissions. Now, we need to see the possibility that can we adapt to the climate change, or how our climate smart agriculture, as we say, is ready or prepared to adapt to climate change or climatic variability. So if the things go on as usual, means it's not going to work. So what we need is we have to reduce irrigation wherever we can. We can use short duration varieties, heat tolerant varieties, or less water requiring crops. So we need crop diversification also. Then we can use conservation agriculture, IPM, INM. Different technologies are there which have already been covered in our package of practices, if we say. But we need some additional technology specifically focusing on the effects of climate change or variability that can help us reduce the vulnerability towards climate change. So this has to be the adaptation strategy. Now, moving on to different field experiences. First, I'll talk about the heat wave that occurred in 2022, means previous year. So you can simply have a look at the graph presented here. This is for Ludhiana, which is located at the center of Punjab, you can say. The daily minimum temperature has gone up significantly, up more about 5 degrees uh, above than the normal what we expected, and the highest range was even 10 degrees at some time compared to the normal temperature I am saying. The same was case with maximum temperature. Whatever was normal has been breached during the second week of March, and the effect was devastating for the agriculture. Moreover, this was not it. Before that, during January month, you can see this red circled area here. The total rainfall was 113 mm in Punjab, whereas the norm during a normal year it may be around 28 mm in a month. I'm talking about entire month. But this rainfall, it didn't allow crop to grow properly. Moreover, there were clouds, and if you see the average sunshine hours, it has reduced considerably from 6 during normal years to 2.3 during the year 2022. I'm talking about January 2022. So the effect of mix of all this rise in temperature in March and rainfall and reduced sunshine hours during January was devastating for the crop, particularly the wheat crop. Then the yield have reduced considerably. That we say up to 8 quintal per hectare. So we organized this study and we have come up with this publication also. If you see that that minimum temperature reached up to 25 degrees in March, and the maximum temperature crossed 35 degrees. Means almost we felt like a proper summer in the second and third week of March itself. The problem of timing was that it actually coincides with the grain filling stage, that is a reproductive stage of wheat. So the crop which gets harvested in the first week of April was harvested in the last week of March. So the harvesting period got reduced by 7 to 10 days. Sorry, the crop period got reduced by 7 to 10 days, and the harvesting uh, means farmers had to harvest the crop because of forced maturity. The grains shriveled and the yield reduced to 42.9 quintal per hectare, which was in the previous year about 49.8 quintal per hectare. And this I am talking about conventional system. In conventional system, you say that farmers burn this paddy straw and sow wheat with simple drill. So there was about 16% yield loss in wheat due to the combination of heat wave and rainfall during January. So how do we adapt, or what climate smart practice we can follow to counter the heat wave? So first is about time. I have mentioned that the crop was matured early and it had to be harvested at least 7 to 10 days before. So what we have observed, this results I am showing it for Bhatinda district particularly, where we had this study. The crop grown between 15th to 13th November, it or after that, it has suffered the maximum loss. It was from 25 to 35%. Whereas the earlier sown crop, like if you sow between 20th to 30th October, the yield loss was minimum. Just a simple technological adjustment that when we sow the crop, it decided how much yield a farmer is going to get. But unfortunately, only 10% of the crop was sown between 20th to 30th October, and about 35% of the crop was sown between 15th to 30th November. So, if you see in yield loss, farmers have lost actually what their profit was supposed to be. Second intervention, I would say, was sowing wheat with happy seeder. Happy seeder, I'll tell, means if many of the participants may not know, it is a simple seed drill with a cutter in front. So what it does is it cuts or chops the paddy straw into small pieces and opens the furrow for sowing of wheat. So you can see in the picture, you can run your this happy seeder behind the harvester and it can sow in the same day, means parallelly it can run. The harvester moving ahead and the happy seeder moving behind and sowing wheat. So in one day, this entire operation can be ensured, and that way we can ensure this proper time of sowing for wheat crop. Moreover, what this happy seeder does is it sows seed within the standing paddy straw. So the paddy straw acts as mulch, and it provides a buffer. The difference in soil temperature is not much. It increases the minimum and decreases the maximum soil temperature. So it provides a buffer from above the canopy level. Uh, Moreover, the compactness, it is called a zero till drill machine because there is minimum disturbance of soil. So the compactness remains intact. And when the roots grow, the happy seeder sown wheat has a better root system compared to the other wheat that is conventionally sown. You can see in the picture the difference in the root system, how this happy seeder one is much vigorous compared to the burn field or conventionally sown wheat. So what we have found was that it produces around 4 to 6% higher during normal weather conditions. Means I'm not talking about heat wave here. On a normal day or normal year, the happy seeder sown wheat produces 2 to 6% higher yield compared to the conventionally sown wheat. But this was a heat wave year. So this is the system I wanted to show here, how vigorous is the happy seeder sown wheat. So let's see what happened in 2022. So we conducted a study of about 400 farmers across districts of Punjab, and the average yield in the conventionally sown wheat was 49.8 quintal per hectare. During 2021, which was a normal year, 14.9 quintal per hectare, whereas in happy seeder sown wheat, it was 52.46. That I already mentioned, that about 2 to 6% higher than the conventionally sown wheat. But during heat wave year, that is 2021-22, means March 22, you can say, the average yield in conventionally sown wheat reduced to 42.92 quintal per hectare, means about 7 to 8 quintals per hectare loss was there. Whereas in happy seeder sown wheat, the yield obtained was about 47 quintals, that is only 5 to 6 quintal loss. Means we could save about 10% of yield loss just because we have sown the crop with happy seeder. During normal year, it was around 6%, but during the heat wave year, it was 10%. Moreover, there are different methodologies of sowing wheat. Another popular machine is super seeder. Even in that, the losses were considerable. Only happy seeder could provide some kind of resilience against the heat wave. And the yield loss, there was yield loss, but it was to the minimum level compared to the conventionally sown or super seeder sown crop. Now, if we recall around 2000 in 2014-15, means basically March 2015, there were incidences of unseasonal rainfall and high-speed winds. So look at the difference in crops. Look at these two pictures. On the left, we have conventionally sown wheat. It was damaged considerably. And on the right, we have happy cedar zone wheat, which was standing even during high speed winds. Because I have already mentioned it, it has a robust root system because of minimum disturbance of soil. Again, the pictures below, they depict in 2019 there were rains. Means in Punjabi, we say rains during December month is very common because of western disturbance. So you see here, wherever there are stubble standing, the water is being absorbed by the stubbles or soil properly. Whereas in the clean field, which doesn't have stubbles in it or mulch in it, the water was standing and there was lodging at many places. The water could not infiltrate through the soil. These are some of the pictures. In the top picture, again, it was due to untimely rains, and moreover, due to terminal heat or the heat wave, there was shrinkage of grains, and it even fetched lesser price in the market. So these are our some of the previous studies. What they show that happy seeder sown crops are much better in terms of yield, and they provide better net income. Again, because we are directly sowing into the standing paddy stubble, there is no uh, tillage involved, so the cost automatically gets reduced. Moreover, we have observed that organic carbon has increased considerably over the years. Obviously, it is not expected in 1 or 2 years, but over the years, like in 2015, in one of our field where we conducted this study, the organic carbon was 44%, which has reached to 0.62% in 2019. Now let's come back to the original phenomena what I was dealing with, that is heat wave in 2022. The government estimated that there was about 8 quintal per hectare loss in wheat, and if we extrapolate to about 31.5 lakh hectare, it comes down to 5,000 crore. Means farmers of Punjab have lost 5,000 crores in an year just due to this heat wave. Whereas in happy cedar, there was saving of 525 crores. Means the happy cedar is sown in 3.5 lakh hectare area. Considering that the farmers in these areas, they could save 525 crore. Now let's look at the scenario this year. Current year, I'm talking about 2023 March. There were rains in the last week of March, and they were to that extent that farmers, the crop you can see in the picture, the wheat crop, which started germinating before harvesting itself. So you can imagine how much loss farmers have incurred because of the climatic variability that is happening over the years. 1 year heat wave and this year excess rains, and that too at wrong time. One another intervention I would like to mention here, what we are particularly trying to popularize in Punjab is leaf color chart. It's a simple technology. This PAU has its own leaf color chart. They are popularizing through KVKs, I would say. Farmers are being demonstrated with this, and this study shows that a particular focusing on a village, Basia, where they could save about 15 lakhs on simply urea just because of this simple technology. And these are the kinds of technological interventions we are trying to promote, which are less or rather I would say not at all costly, and which can help farmers reduce their losses and reduce their input cost, and even if they get lesser yield, they can at least get more net income. Now, along with this, another technology I would like to talk about is direct seeded rice. This is being widely promoted in Punjab. We organize many demonstrations over the years, and although the yields are not that much, or in many cases the yield is even lesser than the transplanted rice, but it saves a lot of water that farmers don't value, or even if they value, uh, the farm economics doesn't allow them to think much about it. We are promoting short duration varieties like PR121, PR126, uh, along with water saving. They save some duration so that the wheat can be sown at proper time. And what we have observed is, with these technologies, particularly the combination of these technologies like happy seeder and then having DSR, we can save about 7,500 rupees per hectare. Now, DSR is not a new technology. It is being promoted throughout India, and if I say about Punjab, from 2013, 2014, we are promoting this technology, but it never picked up, simply because electricity is free in Punjab. So what happens is, uh, farmers, they either excessively irrigate the fields, and they don't actually care about the underground water. And that is the reason, out of 138 blocks in Punjab, about 109 blocks are overexploited. You can imagine how dangerous is the situation of groundwater in Punjab. So what happened during 2020 was, the labor or migrant labor which comes in Punjab for transplanting, they had to go back to their places. Means, if you remember, in on March 23rd, this lockdown was declared, and when everyone got opportunity who were staying at different places, they wanted to return home. So about 10 lakh farm laborers returned from Punjab to their native places because of this situation. So we sought this as an opportunity, because this was the time where machines were needed, and instead of manual transplanting, we needed something. Either we should get mechanical transplanter, and that was really difficult to get during that time. Moreover, it is a costly machine, and we had less labor, so we needed some technology which uses lesser labor. So DSR is such a technology. Our KVKs have planned in such a way that either they provided their own DSR machines to the farmers, or they modified. I talked about happy seeder. That machine can be simply modified to DSR machine for sowing. Moreover, because of this one CRM project you might have heard about, crop residue management, there have been so many happy seeders purchased in this state. So the KVKs even trained these farmers to modify this existing happy seeders into a DSR machine, and it actually simplified the way to this large scale adoption of DSR. And as I have already mentioned, there were around 25,000 happy seeder or zero till drills machine available in the state. These are the our publications which have covered the scenario of 2020, what happened in terms of rice. And we even had manuals prepared to help farmers on how to modify a simple drill for happy seeder sowing. And you can see this news clipping There has been 34% rise in the area of direct seeded rice. Farmers saved around 600 crores and 30% groundwater, what actually is applied to transplanted rice. Now, moving on, this was all about plains, means about Punjab I was talking. Now, I'll be moving to our hilly states where we are particularly focusing on first water resource development. So, I'll be talking about Kullu district in Himachal Pradesh. You know, the rains means this area is drought affected. Moreover, I don't know if we would say drought affected or not, because if there are proper like heavy rains, there are problems of landslides and many other issues they have to face. So drought is a problem or not, it has to be discussed. Anyway, moving on, under our project, we established 4 water harvesting structures with 1.1 lakh liter capacity, and farmers started cultivating different high value crops like onion, garlic, and they were fetching more income. Looking at these success stories, in 1 or 2 years ahead, State Department of Agriculture and the line departments joined KVK in establishing like total capacity went on to 9.8 lakh hectares, where under the different schemes, farmers could get water harvesting structures common for a village or at their farm, and they could sow high value crops, and the gross irrigated area increased from 15 to sorry 35% in that village. Moreover, they started vegetable cultivation. So we calculated for this village, like they fetch this an additional income of 2,80,000 per hectare, which was only 1,50,000 previously. Now, this is an interesting case I would like to highlight. Uh, as I have mentioned, that temperature is rising over the years. What happened in the lower Himalayan hills, like around Kullu, is the apple yield went down, and you can see here green structures. The apple is actually shifting to higher altitudes. Virgin Himalayan lands are getting cultivated with apple because of temperature rise. So if you come back to this picture was about Kinnor, that is higher hills of Himalaya, and these are lower Himalaya in Kullu. So we started replacing apple with other crops like persimmon, and this case particularly I'm mentioning with pomegranate, where farmers can get double the returns what they were getting in apple. So over the years, you see in our Nikra village, the area went on increasing, and in the district also it went on increasing, and the village could fetch 77 lakh additional income because of this simple intervention, and the entire district could earn 10 crores just because we replaced apple with pomegranate. Now I see that time is limited, so I'll be moving a little fast. This is a simple technology of pheromone traps. Like we are trying to prevent the use of chemicals. So we started promoting these pheromone traps for managing fruit fly and cucurbits. Moreover, you know that Himachal is known for its tourism. So many tourists come and they throw these water bottles like Bisleri and Kinley and all that. And these bottles are being used to prepare these pheromone traps. So, and these bottles, farmers can get it for literally free. If you see the average reduction in deformed and infested fruits is about 80%. And wherever we are promoting this, the extent of adoption among general farmers is up to 60%, where it reaches up to 90% in the progressive farmers. Now moving on, again another story in Himachal. It is in Chamba village. It was the village, Laga village in Chamba. It majorly cultivated maize, whereas first we started with developing water resources. Then we introduced this protected cultivation, which was not at all followed there. And with the help of Department of Agriculture, we could mobilize more than 50 lakh rupees and for 30 farmers. And as of now, when we started with two poly houses in 2012, and as of now, the village has more than 100 such poly houses. These are some of our interventions, and you see the change in area. Earlier, where maize and potato were being grown, now the farmers are cultivating apple, cabbage, and cauliflower because of irrigation, water availability, and protected cultivation. These are some of the glimpses of the village. Moreover, if you visit this village, you can see on the one edge of a hill this village, and the other side of the hill, if you see standing in at a point, you can see the difference, technological difference between these two villages. And this is the social impact we talk about. This is not a scientific study, I would say, but simple impact we have observed. There was migration from the village for better jobs, which has now stopped. The material wealth is increasing over the years. Now moving on to way forward, what we have learned through this is you cannot start something and it will last forever. We have to involve different departments and different agencies, I would say all the stakeholders, for better convergence and to make the your intervention sustainable. We have to upscale the proven technologies. Introduction, like we have observed in Punjab, we were promoting UMB blocks for cows and buffaloes. Farmers were happy, like, okay, this is a good technology. It helps in increasing milk yield and having better animal health. But when we stopped giving giving them these blocks, they were complaining that the KVK has stopped giving us this. Where means they were expecting it for free. So in this, we have to explore the possibilities of convergence and to make our technology available for the least cheapest cost available, and to ensure that this our interventions are sustainable and not means the farmers should not get dependent on us. Moreover, one problem cannot be solved with one intervention. We have to try different interventions. For example, for water saving, we have to have laser labeling as well as maybe underground pipeline to save convenience losses, and direct seeded rice, technologies like directed seeded rice wherever possible. Moreover, our effort should be more focused on preventing losses than maximizing yields, because over the years we may be able to manage yields with our technologies, but we have to make sure that we use minimum resources. And we are shifting our focus to integrated farming systems so that farmers have a kind of insurance. Like if a farmer has farm plus some animal and some interventions like this, and if one fails, the other supports the farm economy of the farm family, that we need to explore such options. Moreover, we say that the funds are reducing in research and things like this. But what we have observed is, if through convergence there are so many different schemes. For example, I have mentioned an example of solar power. So the solar mission, that scheme is going on. Through that, we have to explore such options, like how can we utilize those funds for our works. Then we have to make efforts to mitigate the financial risk of the farm family, because that is the main concern of our managing climatic vulnerability. Simple, sustainable interventions are not going to work, we have to ensure that farmers are protected from the risks they are going to face, particularly the financial risks. Nutrition is one such aspect which we usually neglect, and in our project, we particularly focused on these aspects. And not only we tried to develop climate smart villages, but nutritionally smart villages, that the farmers first they should be aware about the nutritional values of whatever crops or uh, the local resources we have, and they should be financially able to consume these products. Moreover, we are trying to promote seed banks so that during adverse years, the farmer should have seed, low cost seed at available to them at proper time. So, for overall sustainability, we need to promote subsidiary occupations. Like, we cannot solely depend on agriculture; it needs support from beekeeping. Beekeeping, we only when we talk about beekeeping, we think about only honey, but the role of bees as pollinators is tremendous when we talk about agriculture and horticulture. Moreover, goat farming and piggery, whatever a local situation suits, we have to introduce occupations like this. Moreover, what we have observed in Punjab, particularly, I would say there is a huge role of custom hiring centers. Farmers cannot purchase all the machines, particularly the small and marginal farmers. We cannot expect them to purchase machines. There comes the role of custom hiring centers, which can have different machines, and they can provide small and marginal farmers at reasonable cost. So this was all about my topic. What I wanted to highlight was our experiences, what we have seen in Punjab, Himachal Pradesh. Maybe I restricted myself to these two states, considering the plain region and hilly region. There are more things which I could have covered, but obviously the time is limited, and I have already actually consumed my time. So I'll stop here now. If anyone has any question, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ashish, for such a nice presentation and giving your insight into the practical of the NIGRA project, what the Atari through KVK are doing in the field situation of northern India. So these are the outcome of that projects. So if anybody have any query, question, or anything that they can ask. Dr. Pankaj, you can unmute your mic or not? Able to unmute? Okay, just a minute. Or otherwise, you write down your query and I call the technical team.
I think he is not able to unmute himself.
सर वो ना मैडम ही करेंगी विकास
Okay.
मेरी तरफ से मैं कर नहीं सकती हूँ
Okay. Dr. Pankaj wanted to ask something.
Ma'am, done.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Okay. Good morning. That's a very great presentation and very well prepared and delivered. I really say top notch. And I want to ask one question.
Yes.
Uh, does climate smart agriculture promote genetically modified crop variety or organism? Organism.
Okay. I think you you are asking actually, I would say, policy level question, because as
Uh,
of now, genetically modified crops are not uh, allowed in India.
right.
Means we
So,
have BT cotton and things like that, but GM food crops are not
GM food.
allowed in India.
Okay.
I don't think there is anything like that as of now. It's more of an ethical question. Like if it is allowed in India, we can introduce such things in uh, climate smart agriculture also. But
Hmm.
we have to think about sustainability, like how much we are going to. Means this is obviously my personal opinion. I don't expect you or anyone in the audience to agree with me.
Right.
Uh, Means we can always agree to disagree, that we if someone says that it should be allowed, and I think if you don't have choice, then only you should go for it. Otherwise, there is enough in the nature, or in the Indian agriculture, I would say, because we have not yet destroyed it that much, that we can manage our situations and issues with the available technologies. Means uh, excluding GM crops, I am saying.
Hmm.
So it's a matter of time it is being introduced in India, uh, but I don't think it has any direct relevance to climate smart agriculture as of now. If it gets adopted in India, then we can go for it.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So there is question in chat.
There is one question by Venkatesh L. Recently received hail with rainfall. Is it climate change or what? Actually, climate change is something we term when it is a long term phenomena, like it is happening and it is becoming a new normal over the years. Whereas a simple one excessive rainfall or a hailstorm, we call it climatic variability, not climate change as such. When I say that now, as let's say now the normal temperature is 35 years on this day, means for 17th April in Ludhiana, Punjab. But if it changes in coming years to, let's say, 25 degrees, then we can say that it is a climate change. But a simple incidence of a hailstorm or rainfall can be called climatic variability instead of climate change. So that is all. Any other question?
So I think there is no more question. So we end up with this session. And thank you very much, sir, for sparing your valuable time to this training session. Thank you, all the participants, for joining us in the morning session. We will meet again at 2:30 in the afternoon. Thank you to one and all.
Thank
I'm
you.
ending the meeting.